Live from the Spill Studios located in the tranquil streets of Iran, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle.
Where'd that come from?
What, you haven't heard what's going on in Iran right now?
I heard what's going on in North Korea, that they want to start a nuclear war.
Oh, no. North Korea does that every time we get a new president. Every time there's a new president, North Korea goes, we have nuclear weapon now. You fear us.
I know. They're showing that sticking a dick out and waving around.
They're trying to get a buy-off. This goes back 20 years. But anyhow,
I'm not saying that they will and they won't. Anybody be foolish to do that. But what's going on in Iran?
Iran is.
That's what I said,
they had the elections, and and there's rioting in the streets, and like Twitter went nuts over the last 24 hours with this whole CNN fail thing, where everybody was making fun of CNN, and it became a big trending thing, and so literally my Twitter's been going nuts with making fun of CNN for the last 24 hours because they completely ignored the rioting in Iran.
Well, that is so funny, man, because this whole time during these elections, they've been saying, we want people to stay calm. And they're just talking to people like, now, don't go crazy when the elections go through. And like, that's not going to work. From the beginning, I was like, the fuck, yeah, it's Iran. They're going to fuck. It's like LA. People will like ride the streets whether they win a game or lose a basketball game. What the fuck were they thinking? Oh, we just going to talk to you guys. Don't do anything crazy. Yeah, no, it's fucking Iran, man. Shit, they'll ride over fucking anything.
But at least I'm kind of behind this one. You know, it's kind of like the guy that was running that lost the election was very pro settling shit with America. He was just like, we don't need to be fighting with America. We don't need to take this tough stance. Let's be friends with them.
No, there were a lot of things he promised. I mean, new rights for women and all kind of shit, man. It was like, I'd be going fucking nuts too. I mean,
he lost.
Of course he lost. He was a radical, man. Yeah. Anyway. I thought you were saying it's like the streets I ran because I'm sitting up here with my shirt off right now.
Oh, no. I was not going to. I'm trying to ignore the fact that I've got nipples pointing out at me.
I know. They're looking straight at you. In fact,
they're like, hey,
I should
one
put
just
glasses
winked.
on them. Yeah, people, I'm sitting up here. I wanted to beat them to the punch because I got a tattoo today. And,
where'd you get the tattoo?
On the back.
Oh,
and
see.
it's pretty big. I mean,
I'm
it's
not
just
going around to see it.
You sure you don't want to touch it? You want to come over here and feel it?
No.
You sure? It's still gooey, you know. It's just nice. Go in there, get a piece of toast, dip it in there. You know, it's all right, man.
No, I just don't want to go back there because, I'm afraid of bro rape.
I should be afraid. If you're going behind me, I should be afraid of you. That's the way that works.
You'll back into me. You'll hop back onto my junk.
Oh, is that how it is?
That's how it is.
I get that excited.
That's right.
Well, since you're back there,
man,
you know what? Not a whole lot going on this week.
No, there's not.
Entertainment news wise, I mean,
anything wise, I mean, if it's not big enough for CNN to cover, why bother?
So I haven't. You know me, man. I stay busy. CNN did not cover the elections in Iran.
Oh, they didn't cover the riots. They had their little thing on the election. Oh, hey, look, it's the election, and let's go to Larry King and a Larry King interview with the American Chopper guys, and then all hell breaks loose, and they're just like, fuck it, we're not going to cover it.
Oh, well. You know what, though? They'll probably put up another spill page just blur it out. Maybe they'll cover that, Maybe Kent will get on the air again. You give it time.
Way to go, Kent.
I'm not going to bring that old stuff back up. You didn't know it. Anyway. So you want to get into the top 5 then?
Sure, why not? It's one of those nights.
It's a boring top 5.
It's a really boring week, man. I don't know how we're going to do this.
Well, we'll start with number 5.
We started off with North Korea and Iran. For fuck's sake, this is going to suck.
And then we moved on to tattoos and bro rape. Ain't shit going on when it goes to that.
Nothing's going on. So let's get into the top 5. Brought to you as well.
All right, number 5.
Number 5.
Land of the Lost. I'm surprised it's still in the top 5.
I'm not. I mean, it should actually still be in the top 5 with, Will Smith and...
Will Smith.
Will Ferrell.
I was about to say, shit, maybe it would do better if Will Smith was in
I'm
there.
distracted by your furry man nipples, dude.
I
Put
see
those
dinosaurs.
away.
What's that big dinosaur chasing me for? Come on. Hey. So that brought in $9 million this week, and it's up to like 34. So not big business for that. Not for the budget.
$34 million. Ouch.
Nope. And that movie cost about $100 million to make. So yeah, I mean,
I'm hearing weird estimates all across the board. Some have said $100 million. Some have said $150 million. I don't know where it is, but it was expensive, and it'll be lucky if it breaks even.
I say once you pass 80 million, that's a whole lot of money. Shit, once you pass $1 million for me, that's a whole lot of fucking money. So, but the movie will probably do well overseas.
Maybe.
Because you have some other movies that are doing well overseas, like Terminator. Already broke.
Yeah, but Terminator's an action film, not a comedy.
Maybe it's that Jerry Lewis thing. Maybe they'll love Will Ferrell in France.
Hey, maybe they will. I'm just saying.
They like
maybe
those Frenchies love weird shit like that. Look, they getting mad now.
Number 4.
One movie that is going strong, not as strong as the first film, but still going strong, is Night at the Museum. $9.6 million, up to $143 million. So, not surprising there.
No.
So, let's get into some new shit.
Let's get into some new shit with the number 3.
The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Taking of Pelham 1, 2. Oh, it's 3.
3. $25 million. They said that's about what they expected with that movie, and so did I. So
I liked it, but man, that third act just kind of let me down.
Well, this is the kind of movie. It's rated R. It's an action film. You got some older stars in it. I expected it to come in third place because the two movies that are in the top 2 are the movies that I expected to stay there, which are... Yes, can go ahead.
I'm going to take number 2.
I thought you were going to say, I'm going to take a shit. You grunting over there.
Instead, I said number 2, which is a euphemism.
Which is a euphemism for number 2, but you didn't mean it that way.
Yes, I did.
You didn't. Number 2 is up.
Okay. Up. Yay, Pixar. Going third week.
Yeah.
Way to go, guys.
But you know what? After his third week, $187 million, man.
And you know what?
What?
We were right last week. We called it. We called it big.
Saying that it was so close that
it was so close. The next day, it flipped.
Yes, it did.
And sure enough, Up took it number 1, second week in a row, which means this was its big week.
Yes, but
or its big drop week.
The solid leader this week, no mix up here, is... Go ahead, sing it. Go ahead. I'm giving you time.
Number 1.
Ooh, I like it when you touch my chest like that. Like some candles up in this bitch. The Hangover.
The Hangover. Number 1. Wow.
It is officially the surprise hit of the summer. And I think it set a record for a rated R comedy in the summer.
Yep.
So I think the only one that was before that was what? Wedding Crashers, maybe?
Wedding Crashers was a big deal, yeah.
Yeah, it's already after 2 weeks.
also did real well.
This movie, $35 million, it's already grossed domestically $105 million. So it's probably one of the most successful movies this summer.
Yeah, no, and it absolutely deserves it. It's really satisfying. Everybody's loving it. Even if the great thing about it is even if you don't find all the jokes funny, you like the story. Because it's just such an interesting film. So no, this was a great find. It was a great summer release. My only disappointment is that it did so well that they're pushing for a sequel. And I don't want to see a sequel of this.
No, this movie did well enough. I mean, something like The Wedding Crashers would have been primed for a sequel, and they were smart not to do it. So they should do the same thing with this right here.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's something that they talk about and just doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it's that. What would they do? I mean, because this movie was based on everything. In this movie was by chance. I mean, if they just ran into shit and things just happened. I don't want it to turn into Die Hard, where John McClane just happened to run into the same terrorist shit every movie, and to the point where you're like, "This, okay, I took it maybe for 2 movies. This is fucking ridiculous right now, though." I love this movie so much. Just leave it alone. So, anyway, I guess that's it for the top 5, man.
Wow, that was a quick top 5, dude.
Yeah,
we got a lot of time to kill.
Yeah,
it's one of those weeks.
Yeah, no, I don't. There's nothing going on, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, maybe old fallback.
I'm getting that vibe too. I think it might be time for an all email show.
Yeah, no, we can
because it's just one of those fucking weeks, dude. There's no news. And the one thing that I've run into is they're giving an award to Twilight.
What's what award? The Suck a Dick Award? What?
No, the Vision Award for film.
Twilight is one of those movies. It has been winning little bits of awards for like till today, apparently. Like MTV gave it what, Best Kiss and Best Movie, I think.
Well, you say MTV, but that's voted on by MTV viewers.
Yeah, I know that, and which I don't find it surprising. But I'm just saying it's still accolades for this movie that everybody complained about, but it's still there. And I mean, look, they're timing this shit just right, because while it's winning awards, they're building momentum for the next movie, which I'm kind of curious about, because who's the director for this new movie? I
don't know.
Oh, that's who it is. Maybe I'm not that excited. The guy that directed the Golden Compass, Chris Weitz.
Okay.
You got to work with me or something now, man. I can carry this show myself now. Come on, fuck it. I'm trying, man. It's like
you're talking about the sequel to Twilight, and it's like literally things I could care less about.
Bring up something you care about, because we got a whole lot of time to go, and I can't.
No, it's yeah, no, it's Did you see? I
want to talk about Mohammed Abdul-Jabbar or whatever the president who is he now? That's the guy who's still president, right?
Yeah, he got reelected.
Yeah,
that guy totally fucking hates us.
He hates us. He hates gays. That guy's
he hates everybody.
Yeah, that guy's. I think he's secretly gay. I think he's.
Dude, he's the Iranian George W. Bush. They were perfect foils for one another. That's why I was hoping they'd throw his ass out. It's kind of like that era's over. Remember the era when everybody just fucking hated each other for 8 years? That was that era. But no, he still fucking hates us. Like Kim Jong-il, at least he's like dying.
But Kim Jong-il, he's dying. He's trying to, that's what I heard. He's trying to make sure that he has all his affairs in order, which means pissing off people. Yeah. And he's been pissy for years, man. He's just been a little pissy guy. Like he's pissed off or he has something to prove.
He's got little man syndrome.
Exactly.
Look at how high that hair is.
Got little man syndrome. He wears fucking really shitty clothes. So but anyway, wouldn't that be cool? I wouldn't mind a nuclear war. As long as it doesn't hit us, because it's supposed to be over there in their region. It's not supposed to be.
Well, only because their missiles can't reach us.
Exactly.
The only people who can reach is Japan, and Japan's always freaking out. And it's like, dude, Japan, you're not pissing off anybody. Shut the fuck up.
I've been waiting for the day we get some mutants and some zombies. I think
that's not how it works.
That's not how it doesn't work.
No,
like
just your skin melts off and you die, and nothing comes back. We've been playing with toxic waste and radioactive power for so long. We have discovered there are no zombies. There are occasionally mutants, but they aren't really that cool.
But they're not like superhero
like China.
mutants?
China has the Beast. Like,
what's the Beast? What?
The Beast from the X-Men? They've got this furry kid who's really fucking strong.
I don't want to piss off anybody over in. Okay, there's some countries where there's some weird shit going on, and I don't want to piss off anybody over in China, or I don't want to piss off anybody over in India. But have you noticed? Speaking of mutants, have you noticed how many people come out of that region with 5 arms and fishtails and shit? I mean.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of people over there, so the odds are.
I mean, what you're talking about is between China and India, that covers about a third of the world population there between those two countries. So odds are, they're going to get the stuff.
But I'm just
Plus,
waiting
they're
for like
incredibly poor countries.
Well, and it's very polluted. I mean, they drink polluted water on a regular basis. I mean, they drink water with cow shit in it and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's like I'm waiting for Octoman to come out of that shit though. 6-armed man to come out and be all
except
strong.
That octopuses have 8 arms.
No, 6 arms, 2 legs. So, there you go. 6 limbs is what I mean.
The Shiva-nator.
8 limbs is what I'm talking about. I'm talking all this shit now while I'm pulling up some email. This thing is doing
we got to do an email show, dude. This is just ridiculous.
Well, I'm sitting up here doing this because while I'm trying to refresh the email here, it keeps giving me the screen saying you don't have any mail, and I do, unless something.
Oh no, our email page has been really wacky. Yeah. In fact, all of I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something to the background of the site. Like when you go and I had like 6 friend requests this weekend, and I go in and click accept all 6. And then it says, you have 5 friend requests. It's like, what? And I go in, and it's accepted one of them. And then I hit accept all 5. And then it says, you have 4 friend requests. And it's only accepted one of them. And so I had to go back and individually accept each one.
I haven't come across that.
But this thing with the email has happened as well, where it says, you have 7 emails, and you're like, okay, and you click on it. It says, you have no new email.
Yeah, that's what.
And then you have to go and click on the email thing, and
like
then
3,
then it takes
5,
you in
50 times in a row or something. So yeah, well, it's finally come up now. So, and yeah, I don't mind doing an email show and getting out of here quick because I am lightheaded. I think it's because I really did lose some blood today, and
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you and I are both just too sedate. It's been one of those days for both of us.
Well, I'm happy. I'm good to go. It's just like the moment you walk out of here, I'm gonna knock out though. So let's see.
Rub one out and go to sleep.
That always helps. And people know rub two while I'm at it. Shit, use both hands. You know, talking about that exercise thing we were talking about before you started the show. So let's see. Okay, here's a question from Aaron. Aaron says, let's see. I recently did a blog post of my top 25 favorite movies of all time. And he names them here. Look, man, okay. This is one of those, what are your favorite movies? You know, Tom, no, I'm not going to answer that.
We've got those listed on our pages.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's a generic question. Come on now.
Sorry, Aaron.
You got to put some effort in this shit. I gave up a long time ago answering these. What is your favorite thing of this and that? And I'm like, no. I've answered that too many fucking times.
Yeah, see, I told you guys about that when this site started way back in the day. You guys were giving me a hard time. You're like, why aren't you answering all these questions to people? People complain that you don't, and we do. And it's like, dude, once you've done this long enough and you realize you could ask the same question 80 times and you've got the answer listed on your page, look, you're going to get a little and you're like, nah, man, we will. And now you're there.
No, that question has always irritated me because this was back when we were doing the Access show. I mean, people all the time.
But you'd answer it for a while.
No, not really. I wouldn't. I never wrote back to people giving my favorite movies just because I can't do that. You know, it's just like. But I'd be riding on. You know, I'd be walking in a restaurant or something. Somebody come up and they'd be like, "Hey, you know that movie show? Yeah. What? Hey, I gotta ask you something. What's your favorite movie?" And then they would see the look on my face and be like, "Oh, you probably get that all the time." Yeah, I do, man. Sit your ass down. All right, so let's see. Here's a question from Mason Daniel.
Mason Daniel.
Out of the countless good films that have come out of the past 10 or so years, which of these films do you think are so good they will be destined to be held as classics in the future? The fuck is going on with these questions, man?
You didn't screen them. That's what the fuck's going on.
I was passing out from getting a tattoo.
It's all good. So does he have a list?
In the past. Oh. That's what I'm saying. The past 10 years. You know how fucking long 10 years is, man? I can pick out anything. I mean,
that's not the worst question. I mean.
It's not the worst question, but go ahead. Take a crack at it.
I think the ones that are going to be hailed as classics, of course, The Dark Knight. Easy.
Yeah, see.
I think There Will Be Blood. No Country for Old Men is going to be regarded as a classic.
You know what? Let me back up. That is a good question because we have movies that came out of the 70s. I mean, movies that came out of the 80s, and back then you wouldn't have known that those movies were going to be the classics that they are now. And I guess you go by what movies are really quotable today. I mean, not because they were shitty movies, because they were great films
and movies that got ignored that made their way around. Like right now, one of them that's going to be hailed as a classic, you know, that is now and will be hailed as a classic 20 years from now is Donnie Darko. Which got completely ignored when it came out, and people discovered it and found out how great it was. Love Actually, a film that I was championing early on, and everybody thought I was crazy for, which has become a big Christmas hit. People love that film.
Not everybody thought you were crazy. I thought you were crazy.
No. No, like I got lots of emails from people when I wrote my written review of it that were like, dude, it's just romantic comedy. It's like, no, you don't understand. This is an instant classic. It's fantastic. I saw it twice in the theater. I just fell in love with it. But people like really, and then people have slowly seen it and gone, wow, that is a really great film, and it's really caught on. Love Actually is one that's going to be hailed as a classic. Let's see.
I'm just looking at some of the movies that are quoted because they were great movies, and there's like There Will Be Blood. I Drank Your Milkshake. That is becoming more and more quoted now to the point where people don't even know where that's from, but they think it's funny.
Kill Bill. Those are going to be classics, but Grindhouse will not. Let's see, what else has come out in the last 10 years that really is an indelible classic?
The Flintstones? No, I don't know. No, it's oh fuck, man.
Last 10 years. I mean, this is 2009, so we can count 99 in there. 99 has a whole bunch of classics.
Well, Fight Club,
Iron Giant, American Beauty, Matrix.
Did 7 come out in the last 10 years?
No, 7 was earlier than that. In fact, 7 was on my mind when you were talking about Twilight earlier. Because 7, back when we were younger and we were actually watching the MTV Movie Awards, 7 is what won the MTV Movie of the Year. You know, not fucking Twilight. Twilight will not be remembered as a classic. Twilight will be remembered in the same way that we remember films like Krull or Beastmaster, where a certain segment of the population really likes it and still loves it, but it's not considered good.
You know what? I wouldn't say that so quick. I mean, I'm not, again, people gonna jump on me for defending Twilight. I'm not saying that Twilight was a hit. Mm-hmm. Twilight is spawning sequels. And Twilight is turning into a bona fide franchise. I think Twilight is going to be like a classic for girls.
But it's going to be a campy classic. It's going to be one that it's a guilty pleasure that people won't watch it as a good series. They'll watch it because, oh, come on, I like it. And that's why I mentioned movies like Krull and Beastmaster, which I fucking love the shit out of.
But see,
and I adore them, and I own them on DVD.
But this movie, Twilight's not like a B-film grade movie.
Yes, it is. Oh my God, there's no A-list actors in it. The effects were terrible.
No, when I say that,
standards from 10 years ago.
No, when I say that, it's like the movie had big production value. The movie came out. It was a hit. It's not straight to DVD. It's not some drive-in type thing. It is an actual...
these movies did well too, and they've stuck around and been
on... Krull didn't do well when it came out.
No, Krull
pretty much bombed when it came out, and Krull didn't spawn any sequels. Krull went and Krull is like, from what I understand, it's like a cult classic. This is not a cult classic. This is a hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's lots of hits that go away or that people kind of roll their eyes at. You can't just say, well, it's a hit and it spawns sequels, so that means it could be remembered as a classic, because I'll counter with Tomb Raider.
But
Tomb Raider was a big hit that spawned a sequel, but it's a piece of shit, and everybody remembers it as a piece of shit. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, well, and it might 10 years from now be watched in a campy kind of way, but it's not going to be remembered as a great film. Well, I honestly don't think Twilight's going to be remembered as a great film. I'm not saying it's going to be remembered poorly, but it's not going to be remembered.
I didn't say it would be remembered as a great film. I said it would probably be a classic. Look, like Star Wars, the prequels, those are going to be classic films because, if for nothing else, they'll be classically known for, like, debated as, are these movies great among fans? Are they terrible among other people?
Now you're twisting the term of the word classic. By that mention, I mean, that means Star Trek V is a classic, and Star Trek V is by no means a fucking classic.
So
it's a terrible fucking film.
You're talking about movies that are, like, great films.
Yeah, what he's asking about are the films that 20 years from now that people are still going to be passing around and saying, you have to see this fucking
Twilight
film.
will not be remembered as a great film.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think 20 years from now, girls are going to still be buying 20th anniversary editions of the DVD, but that's exactly what I do with movies like Krull and Battle Beyond the Stars and Flash Gordon. I mean, I went out and got the Savior of the Universe edition. Why? Because it's fucking Flash Gordon, and I love Flash Gordon.
Yeah. I wonder, there's some movies which have an impact on the good movies, and they have impacted the culture of society, like The Matrix did. Mm-hmm. The Matrix changed technology in film. The Matrix brought in a whole new cultural reference for people who go to film, and just overall, a pop culture.
Pirates of the Caribbean is going to be a classic. The first one.
The first one?
Yeah. I think the others will be thought of the same way we think of the Indiana Jones movies. In fact, I think that's where it's the place it's going to take in this particular in this generation is the first film is going to be remembered as this really inventive, really great film, and then the other ones people will like, but people will complain about them the way they complain about Temple of Doom or Last Crusade. But by the same token,
even like The Matrix with those sequels, which the first one was great,
but even less so, because at least with those sequels, people weren't howling and bitching and screaming about how bad they were when they came out. They did really well, and like a friend of mine, a screenwriter, was talking about how weird it was in L.A. right after Matrix Reloaded came out, because everybody was always saying, it's a really great film, but they always, or it did really well, and they almost had, you could hear the asterisk in at the end of what they were saying, that under their breath they wanted to say, yeah, but it really sucked. It did really well, but it kind of sucked.
Well, we're going by that then. Harry Potter will be.
Harry Potter. Yeah. But I've said this many times before, and I will stand by it, and I will fight you if and when you try to disagree with me, because I hate people that really go after this. But Harry Potter is the Star Wars of this generation.
Oh yeah,
straight up.
I've always said that.
It's going to be quoted 10, 15 years from now. You're going to get Harry Potter references in music and in other movies, and in just it's going to be all over the place the way Star Wars is.
Well, I've always told people, I said, if you want to know what the most successful series is in film today, it is the Harry Potter movies. And I think, to the movie's testament, there's going to be not one, but probably 2 or 3 films out of that series that'll be classic films. I mean, I think the first one, just being Harry Potter, will be. The third one is the one that everybody considered that was the one.
That's the genius one.
Yeah, that is the one where they said, oh, this is what fucking Harry Potter should be.
5 is really good.
Yeah.
And hopefully 6 will live up to that.
Oh, yeah.
So, by that token, the Lord of the Rings movies.
Oh, yeah, that's a given, man.
Are classics.
Oh, yeah. No, all 3 of those movies are classics.
Yeah.
No, that's a fucking given. That's not going to be debated, I don't think, by anybody.
Yeah.
You might debate whether to what degree you like those movies, because there are a lot of people say they're overrated. But you know what? You can't deny that those movies are classic films.
Now, I think The Ring is going to be heralded as probably the best. Ultimately, The Ring is probably going to be considered the best horror film of this decade.
You think so?
Can you think of any other horror film that impacted more than that did, that was ripped off so often, or is so I mean, it's one of those things where every time people bitch and scream and wail about a movie being PG-13, especially a horror film, people are like, name one good PG-13 horror movie, and I go, The Ring. And everybody just goes, oh, yeah, no, that was, okay, yeah, that one. Even the people that want to not like it, fucking like it. I'm sure there's people out there that don't, but I think ultimately The Ring, pretty much everything Gore Verbinski has done this 10 years, with the exception of The Weatherman, will be considered classic.
Probably, I don't know, probably more than that would probably be the Blair Witch Project.
No, because the Blair Witch Project isn't considered a class. Nobody goes back and revisits it, and nobody says you have to watch this. It was a gimmick film that really had its impact when it came out, but after the fact, it was like, okay, aside from that, it's not really a good film. Once you divorce yourself from the gimmick, it doesn't last. I think it will be remembered in film history.
It'll be remembered,
but I don't think it will be viewed as a classic.
It's going to be debatable whether because that's why I'm talking about the impact of that movie. It was a gimmick, and for a lot of people, it was a cool thing, and for some other people, it was like, well, I saw it coming. But nevertheless, I think that movie has had enough cultural impact that it will be considered somewhat of a classic. I mean, if nothing but for its gimmick alone, but it was a good gimmick. I mean, the movie got me, and it got a lot of people.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be passed around. But can you think of any other horror films that would? I mean, really, The Ring is the one that stands out as kind of the best mainstream horror film of this decade.
It could be, because I can't think of anything.
There's some other stuff that's going to be like cult classics, things like Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Sympathy for Lady Vengeance, the Chan-wook Park stuff.
As far as horror movie goes, I can't think of anything. I'm trying to think of something with some insane twist to it that got a lot of people, but given that, Sixth Sense.
Which was 10 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, that will definitely... probably more. That's considered to be somewhat of a horror film, and I would say that one probably. But the movie has so much
also
drama.
Also PG-13, oddly enough.
Was it PG-13?
Yep.
It was.
Sure was.
All right. I thought it was R, because they had some really graphic scenes.
Well, no, that's the thing about both of those films is they're both psychological horror films.
Yeah.
There's blood in both, but not the way you remember it, because what both of those directors did with mood is created that in your head. Neither of them are particularly gory. They're just fucking scary. And so both exist. But ultimately, I think that runs the gamut of the major stuff. I think a lot of the Academy Award-winning films of the last decade aren't going to go down as classics. They might go down as stuff you'll need to see, like Training Day. But as much as I love Training Day, I don't think Training Day is going to be remembered as a classic. It's going to be remembered like Falling Down is, where, the film buffs remember it and love it, but it's not going to be something that everyone's always passing around.
No, you're right, because the movie's going to be remembered mainly for its performance and probably for the film itself. as much as I love Training Day,
even though it's a fucking great film.
No, it is. But I mean, the film's the plot of the film's ridiculous. Yes. I mean, and a lot of people aren't really looking at the plot of that movie. If it didn't have the strength of Denzel Washington, the weakness of that plot really would have came through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I agree with you on that. So I mean, yeah, it's funny because there's a lot of good movies that you'd want to be classics, but you know that they're not going to be like Training Day is one of them. I think.
What do you think? What's sticking out to you? I've named off a shit ton of stuff.
I'll let you name them off because I couldn't think of anything. I mean, really, my brain is like, as far as listing stuff off, my brain is mush right now. Like I said, I think I bled a lot tonight. I got drunk before I went in there to do it.
I was noticing you were looking a little pale. I just thought finally your whitening procedure was going through.
Oh yeah, that Michael Jackson procedure.
That's right.
Who the fuck is calling me, man?
I don't know, dude. You need to turn that phone fucking off. Tell Kent to call later.
Yeah, we have our sex chats later, man. Let's see. I'm trying to think of anything real quick, but there's nothing I can think of, man. Oh, you know what? Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's any animated movies that Toy Story and Toy Story. Well, I don't know if Toy
Story's from I
don't know.
96.
I don't know if Toy Story came out then, but the sequel.
Toy Story 2 is 99, I think, or 2000.
And I was going to say that will be remembered as a classic, I think.
It will, but pretty much everything that Pixar has done except for Cars is going to be remembered. Monsters, Inc., maybe not, but everything else is going to be remembered as a classic. Well, The Incredibles is going to be a classic.
No, they will be. I'm mentioning Toy Story 2, though, because that is so far the only official sequel that they have done, theatrically released. And when you talk about movies that have, like when you ask me what are some of the best sequels, like perfect movies that have perfect sequels, to me, like Alien and Aliens and Toy Story and Toy Story 2 are right up there. Godfather 2.
Yeah, see, I'm not a Toy Story fan. In fact, I am so not excited for Toy Story 3. I never liked the story. I never liked the characters.
I love Toy Story, and I love Toy Story 2. When I saw they did a sequel and it actually worked, I was like, man, this is incredible. And that's when I knew Pixar. I was like, these are people. They can make a sequel, and they care enough to make it this good. This is a great studio.
Arguably, I did enjoy the sequel better than the original, but still, neither of them are films that I've ever wanted to revisit. In fact, it wasn't until The Incredibles that they started making films that really connected with me.
I don't know what to tell you then, man. I loved Pixar from the beginning. No. I think the movie that you like the most is the one I don't like all that much, like Monsters, Inc., which I thought was all right, and Cars.
Which one do I like the most?
There was a time when you liked Monsters, Inc. a lot. I think it's before.
Oh no! At the time, I like Monsters, Inc. better than Finding Nemo. But you were there. I mean, we were reviewing together back when Finding Nemo came out, and I was like, well, the only one I really like is Monsters, Inc. But Monsters, Inc. It doesn't compare to The Incredibles or Wall-E or Ratatouille.
So I don't even think it compares to like Toy Story. I think Toy Story is like one of their crowning achievements, man. That movie is like. It blew me away when I saw it.
Yeah, I never liked them that much.
I don't know why. Why? How come?
I never connected with the Pixar stuff until late in the game, and I didn't come over because everybody convinced me either. You know, I am not at all like that because you guys were for the longest time looking at me like, how are you not in love with Finding Nemo? And I'm like, it's a fish. You know, it's a dad.
You described it like this. You know, I mean, anything,
no. But
it's like a car. It's a car. It's a fat superhero.
No. I know, but it just never emotionally connected with me. I mean, just the dad looking for his son thing just never. I got it. I thought it was cute. I was entertained by it, but I didn't love it. But then, sure enough, with The Incredibles, they really got me, and I was like, holy fuck, that's a great movie. And then after that, the only one that I did not like was Cars.
Did you say you did not like Cars?
Yeah.
No, I didn't like. You know what I thought would have worked for Cars? I thought it's an animated movie about cars. Let's make racetracks that are not the racetracks we see in any racetrack on TV. Make them like the Hot Wheels racetrack where they go in loops and they go in like
what you mean like
circles and shit.
Make them like Speed
Racer? Yes, exactly. That's when I was seeing Speed Racer. I was like, you know what? Pixar could have taken this and really done something with it, man. I was really disappointed because they didn't go that far with it. Pixar seemed to. I mean, for Pixar, that was more like a DreamWorks kind of movie, without all the stars, and all the pop culture references. I thought they could have done much better than that. But anyway.
Hey, before we go on to the next thing, you just kind of reminded me with something you said about a piece of news this week that I actually found really interesting.
What's that?
Okay, well, we've talked about the fact that Fox is putting into production an Alien prequel.
And they said they won't go through with it unless Ridley Scott's involved, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's actually cool news. The idea that Fox said, we're not interested in doing a prequel. We're not interested in making another Alien film unless Ridley Scott is directing it. And that's really interesting. I
think if they were smart, they'd just forget the whole Ripley thing. Because she's not in the scene yet. She's
well, but they're not doing Ripley.
Good.
But they want Ridley Scott to direct it.
Yeah.
And what that tells me is that Fox is tired of getting beat up by the fanboys, and they're tired of dealing with the bullshit and having films that are expensive and then don't, end up being huge blockbusters. And they want to get something that everybody's excited about and talking about for 2 years, which would be a Ridley Scott Alien film. And they had the fucking chance. They had the chance.
When was this?
When they were making Alien versus Predator, Ridley Scott and James Cameron went to Fox and said, look, we don't want you to make this movie. And they said, why not? And they said, because it was cute in Predator when they had the alien skull on the wall, but ever since then, these two universes were intermingled and they were never meant to be together.
Now, is this true or is this an exaggeration? 'Cause I've heard this too, but I didn't know if it was rumors.
No, it was true. What they offered was that they both offered that they would both write a script and that the other would direct the script of the film. So you'd get a Ridley Scott-directed film written by James Cameron, and you'd get a James Cameron-directed film that was written by Ridley Scott. And that they would make those, because they loved the property, and they both wanted to do stuff like that. But
well, if they were smart, and look, and maybe they'll come up with something better, but they have. What made Aliens work so well is that you had a lot of mystery that they were able to cover in the second film. You got the cycle of the alien. You got how you got more information about the planet that they went to. If they were smart, they would cover the mysteries of what was in Alien before that. The derelict spaceship that landed there. Whatever that being was that was encased.
That's
in all
the space
that stuff.
jockey, which is exactly what they want to make.
Then that's what they should cover. Now I don't know how they'll do that because that as you say, the space jockey didn't look human. It was larger than life. So it sounds like they'd have to do that effectively. They'd have to do it without humans or human characters. Yeah. So that would be a tough thing to do. But if James Cameron if Ridley Scott is involved, I have more faith in him than a fucking another Predator movie. Did you ever see that last Predator movie?
Requiem.
Requiem. Yeah. What a piece of shit.
What a total piece of shit. My favorite part about that disc, because they sent me the disc, is I was watching the special features, and you've got the two boneheads who directed that, the Bonehead brothers. I don't remember what their name was, but
I'll take that.
But they're sitting there talking, doing the typical talking head interview on the making of features. And they're like, we sat there and we asked ourselves, what's scarier? Being chased by an alien in outer space or being chased by an alien in your backyard. And we realized it's the backyard, so we wanted to set it on Earth. And that was one of the things where I'm pulling my hair out going, no, jackass. What was scary was that it's in space, because it's like being out at sea where you can't go anywhere, but you can't even jump out of the boat. You're stuck. There's nowhere to go. It's claustrophobic. That's what was scary, asshole. We've already seen movies in which aliens chase us in the backyard. It's been done to death.
Well, the mistake in that movie was they tried to repeat every successful thing from Alien and Aliens. They created a Ripley character in that movie. They don't say she's Ripley, but she looks just like Ripley. She's ripped off. They have a Newt character in there. They actually drive a vehicle like the Space Marines drive in Aliens. They just went through and didn't use one original idea except that one thing. Let's make a Pred-Alien. It's like, are you fucking kidding? You made this hybrid between the alien and predator, which looks stupid, by the way, and then you actually use the term Pred-Alien. I was like, fucking give me a fucking break. I know it's a popcorn movie. People can get mad and say, oh, you just got to learn to enjoy these things. But do you understand what great films and what great directors these came from? And this is the legacy that they're leaving. They're pretty much shitting on two great directors in their projects.
Absolutely.
Jesus
and that
Christ.
reminds me, we haven't mentioned how shitty Wolverine is this week. We've got this whole podcast and not talked about how crappy Wolverine is.
I haven't. You and I won't.
It just reminded me. I'm like, holy crap, we haven't shit on Wolverine yet. Cloverfield is. What is he going to do if we're not shitting on
Cloverfield?
Cloverfield 67 or whatever. The guy who's always complaining to me that I'm picking on Wolverine.
Well, you are, aren't you? Leave Wolverine.
We get it, okay. Leave Wolverine alone. It's a good movie.
Let's see.
No, it's not.
I'm not.
I just couldn't pass that up at this point. It's like, wait a second. I haven't made fun of Wolverine this week.
I've moved on. Wolverine is, like I said, just didn't bother me that much.
Oh, have you've been hit by the amnesia bullets?
See,
you've totally forgotten about it.
And I'm like him now. I'm like, yes, we get it. Amnesia bullets. Every week is fucking amnesia bullets. I wish I had an amnesia bullet to put in both our heads right now. Let's see. Let's go.
That's actually. Do you know what? Do you know the background story of amnesia bullets?
Don't want to know at this point. Let's see.
Right.
No, what is it? No, is this a legitimate story here?
Well, yeah, no. I mean, the reason why I keep mentioning amnesia bullets, it's a favor to a friend of mine, a great guy online named Scott Weinberg, who runs Cinematical and writes for Fear.net and a number of other places.
That's why it's a chance for you to drop some names. I see.
No. It's not. Scott's not exactly famous. He's he's just a cool online reviewer, and people listening may know Scott's writing. He's a cool guy. I love Scott to death. But he went around trying to get everybody to pick up the phrase amnesia bullets and made a bunch of us promise that we'd use it as often as possible.
Tell him to stop because a pain in the ass. It's just 2 times is amusing. 3rd time is like, fuck this. Okay, let's go to here's a good question here because this actually is something I've been wanting to address, and I was hoping somebody would ask a question like this.
Okay.
It says, lowering opinion after second viewing. Has there, and this is from BP6589. Has there ever been a movie that you enjoyed in the theater, but a second viewing of it on DVD or TV made you realize its flaws and lower your opinion of the film? Mine would be The Island and the 2 Grindhouse movies, Death Proof and Planet Terror. You got any?
Well, Death Proof doesn't really count.
Why not?
Because probably what he's talking about, his second viewing, is probably the DVD copy, which the only thing available right now is the director's cut. Unless he streamed it online, you can stream the entire Grindhouse film as it should have been released on DVD off Netflix. But odds are he saw the director's cut, which Tarantino's director's cut is not good.
Is it longer?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
It's more talking.
Oh, Jesus, man. That movie. See, that's why I hated that movie in the first place. So he actually made it longer? Give me a fucking break, man.
So, but my big one is the Hulk. Ang Lee's The Hulk. I loved it the first time I saw it, and the second time I saw it, I'm like, crap, this is exactly the movie everybody else said it was. The other one that really sticks out is Matrix Revolution, Matrix Reloaded, not Revolution. I still love Revolution for the fun popcorn movie that is, but Revolution totally changed my view on Reloaded, because you remember I really dug Reloaded.
Yeah, you and Liam both. And
I was like, oh my god, that was so much fun, that was great. And people are like, what do you love about it? I'm like, well, all this mystery. I mean, come on, why did the Matrix kill the Keymaster if they need Neo to reset the Matrix, and why are these guys after the ghosts and the Merovingian, and why are these guys this, and why is this guy doing that, and why and there's just all these great things, and I can't wait for the third movie for them to answer all these questions. And then you get to the very end of the movie and it's like, oh shit, they didn't answer any of that. In fact, those aren't questions, those are plot holes. Like, that shit they didn't think of.
No, they had that's what pissed me off about the movie. First of all, they said that they had this whole thing thought out, and it became very obvious in the second film they did not. After the second film, I felt like, you know what? I'd rather stay in the Matrix. I'm not rooting for these people anymore. And I even thought, like, after the second movie, I was saying, you know what would have made a really interesting dynamic in this series is if you had this war between people who wanted to stay in the Matrix and people who didn't, because there's nothing about the real world that made me think it's worth fighting for. I'd rather live an illusion and hooked up to a machine, because it brings up the question, what is reality? And that's what that movie's about. And they never really address what is reality, what is existence. And thought, like, you know what, you passed up a great opportunity here.
Yeah, it had some issues. So I don't really watch the middle one. I'm looking forward to watching this fan edit that I found online called Matrix De-Zionized, which is all the Zion stuff gone.
Well, that might be a whole lot better. As long as they take out the rave scenes and shit.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
A movie that I saw, I don't know if this counts because I didn't see it on DVD. I watched the bulk of Terminator Salvation one day when I came out of something else, and I have to say, looking at the second time, I'm not as big about it as I was the first time.
Yeah, I'm actually dreading a second viewing now that everybody's kind of ripped into me about liking it. And then I sat down and rewatched the other Terminator films again, and so now I'm watching these and I'm like, wait a second, this one thing that he says here doesn't totally jive with this comment here, which, seems like a throw off in that one, but, that's why it didn't stick with me after 20 years. But wow, that isn't at all what he's describing here, huh?
Well, I got to warn you, if you watch the second one, you realize just how flat, if you watch it a second time, you begin to realize just how flat Christian Bale is in the movie. And I guess I was so taken in awe with the effects and the action. And the movie did move fast for me. I'm not one of those people who said it was boring. I don't care what you say, it wasn't boring to me. I was never bored watching it the time I was there, but the movie has some major flaws in it, man. And once you are not distracted by all this other stuff, you're like, you know what, a lot of people are right about this. And I'm not changing my mind because I don't care. You know me, man. Shit, I like The Postman. That's one of the most
I love The Postman
dreaded
too.
movies ever. If I like something,
it's
I
not
like
dreaded. It just got ripped into because people were like, "Oh, it's Waterworld 2," and it's like, well, first of all, you haven't seen the director's cut of Waterworld, and secondly, which is actually pretty cool.
Well, like everybody got on us about Ghost of Girlfriends Past. I laughed at the movie. What do you want me to say?
You know what? Saw that a second time. It held up.
Yeah, I don't know.
I really enjoyed that.
I laughed at the movie, and granted, it could be because I was sitting there with you guys, and everybody was infectiously making each other laugh, and that could be it.
And it's also, you know what? But it's also the same writers as The Hangover.
There you go.
A lot of that clever guy dialogue is what really had us laughing. The really funny parts in that movie for us were the scenes with why am I blanking on his name all of a sudden?
Are you talking about Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas
yeah.
and Matthew McConaughey when he's a kid. That particular sequence where he's taking him to the bar is fucking hilarious. And all that kind of guy machismo stuff that he's spewing out, that's exactly the same kind of humor as The Hangover. And it was really funny. I'm trying to think if there were others. Those two are the ones that really stick out in my head as the ones I was really sad about after the fact. But it happens, when you go back and revisit a film and you see it in a different light, or you're watching it for a second time. Hell, Pauline Kael, the famed New York Times film critic, she refused to see films a second time for that reason, because she claimed that once you've seen it a second time, it forces you to be overly analytical. And it forces you to examine the film with knowledge that you're not supposed to have when you're watching it. You're not supposed to know how it ends when you watch the opening of the film.
Well, that's crazy. Because there's some movies that are meant to be enjoyed over and over again.
I agree. I'm just saying that was her philosophy.
I know that, and if that's her philosophy, that's fine. I just sometimes people have such a weird approach to films that I'm just like, just enjoy it. If you didn't like it, because Terminator, even though I didn't like it as much, you know what? I still kind of enjoyed it, but I wouldn't rate it as high as I would the first time. But you know what? I got what I got out of it the first time. Then nobody's gonna take that away. Let's see here. There was another New York Times critic, New York Times critic who I don't know if she was a critic or a columnist, but she was really snobbish about film. Man, they were talking to. What's his name? Played the villain in A History of Violence. You know what I'm talking about? Ball guy. Ed Harris.
Yeah.
She's talking to Ed Harris. She was like, so you have daughters, and when you go to the movies with your daughters, our daughter, what do you see? And he's like, recently I saw Tropic Thunder. It was funny. I thought it was pretty cool. And she was like, oh, I wouldn't know. I'm never watching it. And I was like, you should never be involved in film whatsoever with that kind of attitude. I'm sorry, fuck you. Let's see. Okay, let's go to this question from Gahara. It says, skipping the bullshit, what are your favorite classic cult films, and have you ever seen a film considered a cult classic but you didn't think it was worthy of that moniker? The second one I will answer, and as soon as I can think of something, but I can't think of anything right now. And are we asking, is it worthy of that moniker because it is a cult classic, or is it not worthy because it's something better? You know what I mean?
No, what he's asking is, have you ever been really disappointed in a cult classic and go, why does everybody go nuts over this fucking thing? And yeah, we've both done that.
Yeah. You catch me off guard. I'm on one of those nights where you're like, when you caught me this way,
don't
I don't
blame
know.
him. He just sent the email.
No,
he had no idea you were getting a tattoo and sitting around topless all night.
I didn't blame him. I'm explaining to him that I don't know. I'm trying to think of something right now, and I can't think of anything. But there are the movies are out there.
Why don't you? Well, rather than answering that question, why don't you answer what your favorite cult films are? Because you happen to love fucking cult films.
Oh, I do. I mean,
and you love some real crappy cult films.
I mean, some obscure shit. I have a movie. I'm going to name some shit that you probably have never even heard of. I'm talking to this guy. There's a movie called Elves, which stars Dan Haggerty, who, for our older audience out there, was, what was his name? Grizzly Adams. There's a show called Grizzly Adams about a guy who moved to the mountains and started living with a bear and another Uncle Jesse type guy and a crazy old coot living in a cabin. This guy went on to make his feature film debut or something like that in this movie Elves. The Nazis were experimenting with the occult, which brought back killer elves. And the movie it's called Elves, but only has one. So that is one of my greatest finds out there. So yeah, that would be it for me.
Oh, you've got a lot.
I've got a lot. I could go on all night.
No, but yeah, because what we have is a packed schedule tonight.
Okay, I've mentioned this before. Frogs, a movie which stars. Oh man, what is that guy's name? Scott. Jesus Christ! It's an older guy. No, it's not Scott Glenn. Sam Elliott. The movie stars Sam Elliott, who was. Speaking of the Hulk, the first one, he was General Thunderbolt Ross in that movie. And he looked just like Matthew McConaughey in this film with black hair. You never know that this guy would look like that. And he's in a movie the movie's called Frogs. You think it's about frogs that kill people. No, the frogs develop telekinetic powers where they tell other creatures in the swamp, actual dangerous creatures like snakes and reptiles, like lizards and whatnot, to attack people. And the frogs just sit there. It's the cheapest, worst gimmick in the world. Just film a frog sitting there croaking and put it a sound like woo, 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 and you got a killer frog.
Well, this was back during that whole pissed off nature
70s man
series, and that God, there was so many of those things. If there was an animal, they made a movie of it. Which, you know what? I'll pull up one of my favorite cult films along that line, Night of the Lepus.
Oh yeah, I got that one, man. Love that one.
Night of the Lepus it's bad. And you don't like it because it's good. It's really bad. It's about killer fucking giant rabbits.
Yeah.
Night of the Lepus. Lepus being the genus name for rabbits.
Yeah.
And it's giant rabbits that eat people. And it is the dumbest fucking C-grade movie they have ever seen. You know the one that doesn't really live up, that it's just got the YouTube moments, is Shark Attack 3.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the YouTube moments are awesome, but there's a reason why there's only those 3 scenes they show, because the rest of the movie is just painfully awkward and terrible.
Oh, yeah.
That's awful. One that let me down, one of my favorites, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, not a good thing.
Man. I did. I've performed the Rocky Horror Picture Show over 500 times in my life.
Damn.
Yeah, back when I was
still got your garter belt.
I was younger. No. I never dressed up. That was my thing.
Fishnets.
No, I was a line caller. I was the guy out in the.
So you weren't Dr. Frankenfurter?
No, I was the guy out in the audience, getting the audience involved, getting audience participation going, calling out lines. I would like a neck, if I may. You may not to take you. Oh, take me on a strange journey. You want a strange journey? Jump up my ass.
Oh,
and
Christ,
I've done that over 500 times.
Here's
So
a quick piece of trivia. You probably know this. What was the sequel
Well, that's exactly where I'm going to. Is there's a sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, which is also considered a cult classic, called Shock Treatment.
Yes.
And my friends had built that up, and they're like, "Dude, you have to see Shock Treatment. It's so good. It's so awesome. It's so incredible." And I sat down and watched it. I'm like, this is shitty. There's like one joke in the movie that's actually funny. It's only funny if you know your poetry, because it's a rhyme of the ancient. It's a rhyme of the ancient mariner joke, where someone comes in and is this somebody's albatross? And it's like, that's the one joke in the movie where it's like, oh, that's funny. That's cool, Ridge. Oh, that's awesome. But the rest of the movie is just like, oh wow, this is fucking painful.
Well, no, it is. I saw it before I even knew it was a sequel to the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because it has the character, I guess, that plays Riff Raff, whatever, on the cover, and guy looked funny on the cover. I rented it thinking it was some cool comedy. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I mean, this is years ago.
Denton, you've got no pretension. You're...
See, and you have to, and you don't even have to, it's not, it doesn't even reference the original that much, because I saw the...
No, in fact, it doesn't at all. It's got Brad and Janet, and that's pretty much, and then, of course, Nell Carter is in it. Not Nell Carter, God, what is her name? Nell Carter.
You're talking about the big black woman. Yeah, no.
No.
I was about to say, you thinking of Modern Problems. That's what she was in.
No, I'm thinking her name is Nell something.
Nell.
The actress. She played Magenta in the first film. She shows up again in...
Oh, you're talking about the redhead?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not Magenta. God, I can't even... It's Columbia. She plays Columbia. Her name, I think, is Little Nell.
You got me, man. I'm not a big fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show either.
Yeah, I'm totally spaced tonight. I'm catching the Corey Coleman syndrome. Apparently, I'm growing a tattoo on my back, and my shirt is coming off.
Yeah, you better grab that.
I better chickadee check myself before I rickety wreck myself.
No, you didn't, man. Don't do that.
Yeah, no, but that was the one that I was really disappointed in, and it happens. You know, sometimes people hand you. That's the thing with cult films is cult films are only liked by a small segment of the population who just love it, and they pass it around. And sometimes it's there's a reason why it never caught on with a lot of people, and
for good reason, because it's bad. I'll name one movie that people should try to watch if you can find it. I've mentioned it before. You've heard me mention this. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, but I have to mention it all the time. Abar, the First Black Superman.
That one actually lives up.
Alternative title is In Your Face. Not In Your Face, In Your Face, where they actually have bulletproof rabbits and and they create an indestructible black man at the end.
You know what actually let me down when I finally saw it? The original Shaft.
Really?
Yeah, no, because when it was built up for years, and when I finally got around to seeing it,
you're talking about the original Shaft?
Yeah, the original Shaft. When I finally got around to seeing it, it had been, it didn't hold up.
A lot of those '70s blaxploitation films, they're very dull if you're expecting a lot more than what's there. Superfly is not. That movie's boring, man.
Yeah. I was going to mention Superfly too. In fact, Superfly is what led me to think of, Shaft didn't live up. Yeah, a lot of those don't quite live up.
See, I like Shaft a lot, though.
But, I do too, but it didn't. I was disappointed.
I can see why.
And it took me a while to really what you have to look at that with historical perspective. You have to understand that is the very first time a black man was the hero in a movie.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that the reason why he's constantly bitching about the white man is because, that was kind of the point of the movie at the time.
And you have to grow up in a household where Shaft was like an event for people who wanted to watch it. It's like my brother loves Shaft.
And you also have to look at it from the point of view that it was written by a white man. That it was.
So was Car Wash. Joel Schumacher.
Car Wash. Joel Schumacher did that. God, trying to think of other cult films that just didn't live up to the hype, and it's. I don't know. I mean, other favorite cult films of mine. I love Orgasmo.
You know what?
I'm a huge Orgasmo fan.
Let me tell you something. That is so weird that you said Orgasmo, because when you said you better check yourself before you riggedy wreck yourself, I cannot think of that now. I never think of the song like Ice Cube doing that. I think of that Asian guy there. You better check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself. Yeah.
There's nothing sadder than a sad Japanese man.
And that movie is hilarious to me, man.
Oh God, I love that movie. And it never caught on, and a lot of people don't like it. But man, I've seen that movie 50
a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, people think of that as like the lesser Trey Parker, Matt Stone.
Really? Because I love that movie, man.
I do too. I adore it. It's cult. It's a cult film, and it's a great. I love the shit out of that movie. Never ever watch the rated R cut. You can only watch the unrated cut of that movie.
I saw it when it was like NC-17. At the
and that's
Dolby.
the DVD I have.
Yeah.
You know what else I like that's kind of culty? I like and nobody else really likes it that much. I've shown it to people who have enjoyed it.
Everything.
Ali G in the House.
I never saw it, and I heard it was awful. They showed it here in Austin.
They showed it, and I was so pissed that I missed it, and I had to download it to watch it.
You what? You downloaded?
This was a while ago. This was before I had my conversion, which is why I constantly talk about it, because every once in a while when a film wouldn't show in the United States, we were downloading. You know, it was the only way to see some of these films because we anticipated it was never going to come out on DVD. And so I downloaded it and watched it, and man, it was hilarious. I've since bought the DVD. Once it became available in the States, I bought it. I love it, but man, so many people just hate that film. I love that because, in fact, was it last week or the week before where I was joking around with you and you said Wicked, and I went, Wicked,
is that what
Jungle
that's
is
from?
Massive. And you're like, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh, it's a song, English.
It's from Ali G?
Well, they use it in Ali G in the House. And 3 different people posted YouTube links to that sequence in the movie in the
See, I love Ali G, but I just couldn't bring myself to watch that movie because I don't want have my image of Ali G.
I thought it's so funny. I mean, I'm glad he's doing what he's doing now. Because I don't think an Ali G movie would have worked, as the way Borat and
well, that's what really got me nervous about Borat, because watching Ali G, I was I wanted to see him, and when the Borat skit came on, I was like, I'm not into this guy. And when Borat the movie came out, I was like, oh, okay, this is Borat. All right.
Yeah.
Here's a question from somebody who's like really wanting a question answered.
Okay, then I don't want to answer.
They said, you've never answered one of mine yet. Please. This is from HAL 9000 version 2.0. And it says, with the year of the superhero last year and the recent release of Terminator and Star Trek this year so far, what do you think the chances are that we will see a reoccurrence of the space opera? None. I would love to see a Space 1999 relaunch, or even a okay, I don't want to be saying that. Anyway, as far as the space opera goes, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I mean, you would consider Star Wars a space opera, right?
Well, Star Wars is the very definition of a space opera.
So we're talking about something like that.
Star Wars was the movie that Lucas made because he couldn't get the rights to Flash Gordon.
Yeah, exactly. No, wait a minute. Was it because he wanted the rights to Flash Gordon?
He wanted the rights to Flash Gordon. He wanted to make a Flash Gordon movie, and Lorenzo de Bonaventura did not let him.
Because he loved Flash Gordon. He wanted to make a serial or something.
Yep.
But
he wanted to make a series.
Yeah. So, and he did with Star Wars. I mean, look, I don't know, man. That's one of those questions where you never know what trends will pop up. I don't know.
The space opera isn't primed for a comeback right now. Right now, what we're seeing, we're in the midst of a post-apocalyptic comeback. And that's what's going to kind of dominate for the next few years. But it hasn't caught on the way that zombies did. Post-apocalyptic is the natural progression from the zombie film. We saw that with the zombie films of the 70s, led into the post-apocalyptic films of the early 80s. And then we saw that exact same phenomenon happen now.
I think
where the zombie films came out and people were digging on the whole post-apocalyptic thing, which moves into the post-apocalyptic, but none of those movies have taken off yet. Every single one of them has failed. Terminator was the first really big budget one we saw. We've got another one.
Are you talking about the post-apocalyptic movie has failed?
Yeah, that it failed to catch on. No, the post-apocalyptic genre, even though they're making lots of them right now, they failed to catch on and get everybody excited. Like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next post-apocalyptic movie. There isn't that same kind of excitement that, remember when the zombie movie came back, everybody was chopping at the bit for zombie movies. You especially. You were like, oh my God, it's a zombie movie. Oh my God,
the reason why is because the zombie movie is a very specific thing. I mean, there's no way to like disguise a zombie movie onto something else. I mean, you could.
Post-apocalyptic is the same way.
But like you can make movies such as WALL-E, which is kind of a post-apocalyptic movie.
It is a post-apocalyptic movie.
But I'm saying, it's pitched more as a family film. I think you've seen a lot of these.
But so was City of Ember, which is a post-apocalyptic.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of movies that are coming out right now, and we do have this. We do have this whole genre of the post-apocalyptic film there, and at one time it was because of the threat of nuclear war. Mm-hmm. Now we have the threat of nuclear war, along with the threat of global warming, global catastrophe,
viruses.
And that's part of the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of new scares that we have that make people think, okay, this could wipe humanity out, and we're seeing these things, pollution, all kind of stuff, and these are like the scares that we have that are coming out in all kind of facets of film. I think it's a fascinating genre because unlike the zombie genre, which every now and then we'll get something that will kind of come across as a zombie film, but not the zombie film, like The Corpse Bride. I mean, you could argue like, hey, that's a movie about a dead chick, but it's not. Zombies are a very specific thing. You want to see zombies eat people. The post-apocalyptic film could be a children's film, could be an action film, could be a horror film.
But my point was simply that they haven't caught on. None of them have gone gangbusters, and people aren't excited to see them. I mean, they're moving on a Mad Max 4. We're going to see The Road later this year. There are a couple other projects in the works about the end of the world. There's one that there's just a couple that are coming up.
I don't think there needs to be a clamor for them though, because they are popping up naturally in films and cross genres of films.
But my point is, they're not catching on and making big money. I mean, that's the thing, is that the for some reason people are turning their nose up at them. Maybe it's that we're not scared of the nuclear war anymore, and so this feels too much like a fictitious world as opposed to this really could be what we're headed towards, which was what worked in that genre in the 80s. You know, we honestly felt that any day now we could end up in Mad Max world. You know, that we would be living the Road Warrior, that nuclear war would wipe out, huge swaths of the population, and we'd be living in a nuclear wasteland.
Yeah, I mean,
but we don't feel that way anymore. We're not afraid. We don't wake up from nightmares sweating.
Actually, we are afraid of a global catastrophe, though. And then
sure.
And you're seeing a lot of these show up in movies. I mean, like I said, WALL-E was a success, So
yeah, but WALL-E was Pixar.
It was.
But what people complained about was they didn't like the post-apocalyptic nature, and they didn't like the.
Did people really complain about that? Because I don't think it was that big enough. For
there are people who are really upset about all the praise that WALL-E got, and they're
the movie got praised though. So those are a minority of people who complain about that. And I'm not even the biggest WALL-E fan. I thought it was a good film, but I mean, there's no denying the movie was a hit. It wasn't like one of their biggest hits, but it was a hit. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think, like I said, those movies just kind of sneak themselves in.
But that's my point, is that they're just kind of sneaking out as opposed to catching on.
But that's because that could be a specific kind of post-apocalyptic film. Maybe people want to see I don't think people are like clamoring for that Road Warrior, mutant in the wasteland type movie. The
other aspect that is important to note about the space opera is that the space opera is very expensive. And right now we're seeing big budgets recede. Big budget films are getting canceled left and right. We will see a space opera here very shortly. In fact, there's rumor that it will shoot as early as November, and that's John Carter of Mars. And we're going to see one come from Cameron. But I don't think that's going to actually rebirth the space opera. I think that it's just we're going to get, the occasional space opera as we've been getting.
Well, the problem with a space opera, and the reason, that's why I said no, emphatically in the beginning, is because with a space opera, it is too easy at this point to be compared to Star Wars. It's like, I mean, a lot of things come out, and if you create a fantasy world, a lot of people just don't buy into the space fantasy.
But
I'm talking about Vin Diesel really wanted to do it with the Chronicles of Riddick.
Yes,
and that was a big failure, and I didn't, rightfully so, because you have to write those things in a way that they appeal to a mass audience. Otherwise, you're going to be spending a huge chunk of money on something that appeals only to a smaller portion of the movie going people.
You know what? Going back to a previous question, Chronicles of Riddick is one that I really liked and didn't like the second time around that I watched it. Was really kind of disappointed.
I know. I remember you guys, all of you jumped on me when I said it was a bad movie.
Yeah, and then I watched it again. I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's really the second time around. It's really disappointing.
See, the third time, it's I watched some of it like in a bar, and it's like, man, this is
because that's ridiculous. Where you need to watch a movie.
Yeah, you need to drink to watch that shit. That's why.
Oh, hey, another great cult film, The Warriors.
Oh yeah. The Warriors.
I mean, that's totally a cult film. You can't take that one seriously, but God, it's great.
No, it is
so fucking great.
No. That's a movie that, like we said, is the definition of a cult classic. Not exactly considered a classic film because really it's not all that good of a movie, but it had a cultural impact, right down to having a video game today.
Now, you see what I did?
Trying to remake it.
I went back to 3 different questions at once, dude. I'm a fucking question ninja tonight.
You're so economical.
How are we doing on time?
We actually went over, so we're good.
Oh, well then. You know what? I think we're going to call it a night then.
Thank you. That's fine with me. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night, everybody.